So I'm sitting here and I was getting ready to cut in this lower quarter panel section because we got to get this patch put in here. And I'm looking at this and it has come to my attention that I've almost made a critical error that would have resulted in an issue that would have been a pain in the neck to fix. And now I'm trying to figure out what the best approach is for doing that. Ultimately, I haven't made the mistake yet, but I'll show you all about what it is here in just a minute. So stick around, watch the video, and I'll show you how to not do what I almost just did.
I don't ever slow down, no, I don't take it.
That's a new personal best.
I don't ever slow up, no, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We're getting ready to do the lower quarter panel on the Chevelle. And as I mentioned right at the very beginning of this video, I realized I have a potential error in the making, and I'm going to show you exactly what that is. So as you can see, I've got the panel pinned up with Cleco pins where it should, quote unquote, at least where my brain saw that it should line up when I started doing the initial, this is where it's gonna go. And all I did there was I got it up in place, and then I took measurements off of the body line from here down to the body line that's here, and I did it at this point here, and I did it at this point back here. GoPro hates me, I swear. I don't get it. Anyway, measurements here and here, and I got it to where this lines up, matching up with the measurements on the other side of the car, which came out really good and everything was lined up. And now I made my mark in around where this panel's at to be the initial cut in on the panel, which I was going to do with the panel in place so that I get a nice matched seam line between this panel and the original body panel. And as I was getting ready to do this, and I mean all the tools out, well, partially because I left them out, but everything ready to go, cutting wheel here, safety glasses there, gloves, the whole works, everything ready to go. I was getting ready to make this cut, and I realized that if I cut in right here, right now, whether I cut this patch panel or whether I cut this patch panel, because one or the other has to be cut because they overlap. When I make that cut, the lower rear section here has to move up. You look right there, it has to move up so that it'll line up with the panel that's here. If this panel moves up, then my measurement between this body line and this body line is going to change. It not necessarily going to change back here at the back, but it's going to change right here at the front. It's going to come up and it's going to reduce my 9 1/4 inch measurement from here to here. That's not ideal. We don't want to go away from 9 1/4 because that's where I want that body line to match with what's on the other side. And I know you can't see both sides of the car at the same time. And the odds of anyone being able to see that this is a 1/4 inch different, a 1/4 inch potentially out of alignment, probably 0. But that's okay. I haven't actually cut into anything yet. So here's how you would fix this in this condition is, because we know that this has to go up, what we would do, and this potentially fixes another problem that I discovered in this panel, which is back here where the bumper wraps around, there's a gap. As you can see, the screwdriver fits in between the factory body and the new panel. That gap shouldn't be there. That should be back around where the body kicks out naturally. And as I was sitting here looking at this and I realized that this was going to go up, it also made me remember that I had that little gap there that I wasn't sure why that was there. Well, here's why. This whole panel actually needs to shift to the rear of the car. Now, if I bring it rearward, then this slope is gonna be lower down when I cut it in which case this body line, right, this measurement here won't change the way it would if I just cut it in right now and it moved up. I know that seems kind of weird to kind of think through, but I'll show you exactly, you know, as I'll get it cut in and try and show you exactly what happens there. But the short of it is, if you're doing one of these lower quarters, rear, blah, 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 full, can't catch my tongue right now. If you're doing this panel and you do just a layover to do your rough cut, make sure you look at or consider the fact that when you cut this section in and it's overlapped on this bottom side, that it is gonna move up. So you actually wanna have it back a little bit, which is gonna make the front of this measure low, but once it's cut in, it will come back up to where it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna take a few minutes. I'm gonna get this adjusted a little bit and put a new cut line where I'm gonna cut in. We'll get the front part of it cut. I made a couple of marks right here, and that'll show you where this panel was initially. I'm going to adjust it to where it actually needs to be and show you how much further back this moved and what this new measurement is. Well, I'll show you that this measurement didn't change, which it's, as it's written on the car, I got 9¼ inches right there, written on the body panel right there. That's my measurement. And directly below that, if I go from the body or the center of the body line there, down to where the body line is on the new panel, right there, I got 9¼ inches. It probably doesn't show up on camera because of the lighting, but it's at 9¼ right now. So that's where we want it when it's finished. We want that distance to be 9¼ but I'm gonna actually bring it down and back to do the cut in, and it'll still go up into the right place. Oh, that sounds freaking confusing as shit. Anyway, I'm gonna start doing my thing, and yeah, I'll show you how it ends up. Just that quick, we have corrected what was almost gonna be a pain in the neck error to try and get fixed, or it would have just had to have been ignored out of laziness, because the odds are I would be the only one who would have noticed it anyway. But what I did, just like I tried to explain, is I ended up shifting the panel towards the rear. And so I had told you that we had our hash marks on there, right? And now you can see the hash marks are about an 1/8 inch, 3/16 shifted to the rear. And the original cut line, which is right there, the Sharpie line that you can still see, you can see that that's also not where I cut. I cut back further, and I took this little chunk right here out of this patch panel, so that this piece, this lower section, at least the front of it, could come up to align the wheel arch. And now there's not an extra layer of material for an overlap right here. And you can see that this is pretty close. It's just rough clamped into place, and there's still some cleanup that's got to be done for getting decent weld gaps. But now, having done that, I went back and I remeasured the 9¼ right here, and I've got 9¼ with this coming up into position and shifted back. The other thing that did is, for the most part, trying to shift, is it corrected this issue right here where the forming of this panel wasn't lining up with the body. It's still not a perfect match to the contour of the body, but at least the form line is in the right general area, so it's going to be a lot easier to get that to match up. And I remeasured it back here, and you can tell that the Sharpie line across the top of the panel back here at the back is still right across the top. This is still the 8 1/4 inches that was needed for this body line. So all I did was shift the whole thing back and tilt it just a little bit, I think. Whatever the case, the Sharpie line's there. It's just shifted back and no longer overlapping up here at the front. And that is now put it in what is the position it's going to live in. So from here, I can do my cut in across the top and clean up the weld gap a little bit and start welding this panel into place. And by the time here in a little bit, we'll be able to have this panel all tacked up and start doing process welding from back here all the way up to the front of the wheel arch where that patch is all just tacked in. Start working all of that together and getting it welded out so that the lady over there, hey, I'm talking to you. What are you doing?
Trying to fix this.
Oh, you're not gonna fix that one.
Ah! Leave me alone.
Oh, okay, you should have took a before and after.
Shut up.
She's there's a bit of a whale in that door where who knows what happened to it at some point in time.
I'm gonna fix it the best I can. Why are you? Shut up. Leave me alone.
I'm leaving you alone. I'm leaving you alone. I was just letting them know a little bit about what you were doing and.
Yeah, and I'm gonna fix it as much as I can.
Okay, it's all.
I know it's not gonna be perfect.
It's all you. It's all you. You got this. You got this. I won't judge. We won't even show them the before because, well, it's already covered up. You'll see the after and you can decide if you like it or not.
Wow.
She's I would have ignored the part that she's working on, but hey, it's her car and she's actually really likes doing the Bondo work. Don't let her lie to you.
I had to use up the rest. I couldn't waste a huge chunk of it. So why not?
Yeah?
And it's way better than it was. So yeah.
I agree. Regardless of what she does, it's way better than what it
Thank
was
you.
before. Really? Really? I was giving you credit here.
Was I supposed to keep this attached?
No.
Okay.
What? She got some new, instead of using the reusable board, she got some of the disposable pull sheet boards, and she's trying those out for the first time with the body board. Oh, look, first sheet. How'd that work out for you?
Way better than fixing, cleaning the one with brake cleaner.
Yeah, worth the $13 or whatever.
Well, I got 2 for $24 off of Amazon, and I don't know how to protect this though.
Oh, just put it somewhere where it's covered up. Show us what it is though. For anybody who might not know, tell us what it is.
It's a mixing board, but with reusable sheets.
Tear off.
And I'm pretty sure this one came with, I think there's 100 sheets on here. And it also came with one of these that attaches right here. So you can keep it all together. It's really it's not flimsy. It's very sturdy, very easy to work with. And literally, as soon as you're done, you just peel and go instead of taking your time to scrape everything off and make sure it's nice and clean, because obviously if you have extra stuff on your board and you keep reusing it, then you're gonna put dried up Bondo in with your good Bondo and it's just not gonna cure up well. So I would suggest, if you're doing any type of Bondo body work and you gotta do a little mixture and stuff, tear off sheets is the way to go for cleanup. I'm very happy with my Amazon purchase.
Good. So there you have it. If you're doing any of that sort of thing, check out those tear-offs. They are cheap and the cleanup is, well, throw it away. We'll put a link to the one she got down in the description if you want to check it out. Otherwise, I think I'm going to get into getting that cut from this point forward. It's a pretty, hopefully, straightforward process of just cutting it in and then do the same thing like I did on the quarter panel, work it from the front edge to the back and get it tacked into place. And once it's all tacked in, do one final double check on everything, and then we get to go to town welding it. So, probably some time-lapse footage coming up, and we'll see where we end up. All the cleanup work is done. I've got this fitted up where I'm pretty happy with it. The gap, as it would get back here in the back, is going to have to be worked with a little bit. I am using these body panel clamps or sheet metal panel alignment clamps. They look like this. Got a little bar on the back side that goes in there. And what that'll do is when you tighten that up, is it clamps the panel. I'm not a huge fan of them for this type of use because they're supposed to pull the two panels completely flush, but if the metal's not exactly the same thickness, or there's any piece of debris or anything in the way, they don't come flush. And they can also be a pain in the neck to get out if you actually weld anywhere near them because the metal wants to move around a little bit. So all I'm actually using them for is to keep the back end of this panel up while I get the first two tacks on the front. And then I'll pull those out of there and kind of work my way out from there. So, but they do work because I don't have a clamp that would be a good clamp for doing that other than these. So the other thing that I have found is really useful is to use these Cleco pins. And even though it's not pinned onto anything behind it, it's just in the panel, it gives me something to kind of hold on to move the panel around if I need to move it out or push it in or try and push it towards a certain direction to make it go where I want it before I set the tack. I've just found that those are extremely useful in helping get that alignment because right now with the way the panel is just kind of hanging here, it actually needs to roll under just a little bit to be in the right position, but I need to be able to have two hands to do that if I use that Cleco pin, I can kind of use my wrist right here to manipulate the panel a little bit and hold on to the pin to keep my gap where it's supposed to be. And that's just because it's pushing against the metal of the inner wheel lip right here. But anyway, you see messing with it a little bit, wiggled that loose, and it's all still just hanging here. So we're gonna get this tacked in and we'll take a look at it, double check the measurement real quick, make sure I didn't lose, oh, there's my tape measure. Make sure I didn't lose my 9 1/4 dimension right here. And as long as that gap's in the right neighborhood, yep, right on the money, 9 1/4 inches. So we'll throw a tack in, probably gonna squeeze that just a little bit tighter, but it'll be good. It does look like I'll need to do a little bit of hammer and dolly work right here at this joint on the bottom just to get that perfect, but I had to do that on the other side too. So it's just the fact that these are two separate panels made at 2 different times, cut from 2 different stampings. So we'll do what we got to do to make it work and go from there. I actually kind of want to see, you know what? I'm going to take a minute and look at this again. I think I want to push the inside out just a little bit. No, it's fine right there. It'll do. Let's stick that in there, right there. Where's the thing? There's the thing. And then we just kind of prop that up there where we want it and close the eyes and send it. Did we get it? Did we get it? We got it. We got it. That's a nice little tack weld. It did pull this gap tight. I was probably holding it just a little bit wrong, but that top gap is perfect. And I can open that just a little bit if I need to. The bottom, looks like we came in pretty close on the bottom where that wants to be. We'll have to do just a little bit of work right there. Let's see, are we still at our 9 1/4 top to seam? Let's see, right on the body line. Looks like we may be right at 9 1/4. So, can't ask for better than that. And so from there, what I'm actually probably gonna do is put one more tack right about here. Kind of push the back up a little bit. Yeah. Okay, and for this one, the original body panel is in a little bit. So if you didn't have the ability to reach behind there, you could use a screwdriver to kind of wedge it out into place. But because I can get my hand up behind, because there's no trunk floor or trunk drop on this side, I'm just going to go up behind the panel and get it to where I want it, right about, the tack's going to go right there. Yep, just like that. And we'll do the same thing. Get this in there where we want it, right about there, and squeeze and pray. We get it? We get it? Tell me, did we get it? We got it.
I don't like this whole squeeze and pray thing.
We got it. That's pretty right on the money. Looks like a little bit of alignment work right there. And now we've got a tack that holds it there and there. This clamp is no longer needed, so we'll get it out of there before it gets in the way or causes more problems than it's worth. And this process will continue from here on through the whole panel. We'll make sure that everything's happy. I'll get a spot welds that are about 6 inches apart. So the next one will be right about here where this clamp was. And once I've got all the way to the back, I'll recheck my measurements. If the measurements check out, then I'm going to start checking the flush, make sure I'm not having the panel do this sort of thing. If it is doing that anywhere, I'll cut one of the welds out and kind of pull the metal back into place to where it should be, put a new weld in. And once we've got it to where there's a half dozen or so welds in here and everything's good, then we'll just go to town and get this whole thing welded up. That means the time lapse is coming. that took a little longer to get lined up than I had hoped, but it's finally lined up pretty good. I took a little bit of extra time with this one from lessons learned on doing the other side about how the metal wants to pull in as you weld it and heat it. So I put a little bit more pre-tension on it, pushing it out a little bit to get it flush. And then after getting the first set of welds in, I went back and started rechecking, and I found quite a few of them I didn't actually like the panel position. So I cut the welds back out and readjusted them and worked my way back down the panel again. And now when I throw a straight edge across the weld or across the seam between the welds, it's flush on both panels. There's no low spot across the weld, which is going to make it a lot easier and a lot nicer on the final finish there. And that'll be good. I mean, we won't see it at all anyways, and the other side turned out pretty good. It just means less work for that one over there, who's also been rather busy. Let's tell us about what you've been doing over here.
Well, one thing that you did not tell them after you were making fun of me
I wasn't making fun of
about,
you.
oh, I wouldn't have done that down there.
I just said that I would have said, nah, leave it.
So, what we've mentioned is before is obviously we have noticed in a way that the car has been hit or something's been rubbed against it.
Yeah, basically it looks like a bumper,
sideswipe,
a bumper sweep down the whole side of this car, which included this door.
Which this door right here had a dent in it, so I'm trying to build it up a little bit, but down this entire side was pretty much completely divoted in two. So I wanted to try and minimize that.
So what you're doing is creating a Bondo cake.
No.
No, it's really not that much.
No, it's not.
It's a large area, but it's a fairly low indentation level. It's just a long minor scrape. To do it right, the right fix here would require tools that I don't have. Probably the best way to do it would be to use a stud gun and to shoot studs in there and
it was too deep.
No, a stud gun, you could have got it back out.
Oh.
But
well,
I don't have a stud gun, and I'm not going to go buy a stud gun.
Well, why not?
Because they're expensive. And
don't you love me? Don't you love me?
You see where this goes? I'm over here completely rebuilding quarter panels, and I don't love her because I won't get a stud gun to fix a minor flaw down by the rocker, much less.
Hey, it didn't get. I mean,
I didn't say the rocker, but down by the bottom where you won't even notice it.
That's the really good thing is that whatever happened, it did not get the rocker.
Yeah, that's good. And actually, rockers are in pretty good shape on this car.
Yeah.
So surprisingly enough, with how much rot was in the back of this car, the rockers are actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
With no major issues whatsoever. Which is good because I wasn't going to do rockers if they had problems. Maybe a patch if they needed it. But
no, but pretty much, I mean, just waiting for dry. Right. Okay.
And then you're going to block that out again.
And then I'm going to block it out again, and then the door, and then put high build on it. Mm-hmm. And then once the high build is good to go, this door will be black, and then it's just waiting on you to finish so I can keep going.
There's a lot of work back there.
If you guys haven't noticed in the videos, like Cole gets, like kind of dusty a little bit. That's because I'm literally working around him because I want him out of my way.
It's like it snows on me while I'm trying to weld, and it's ridiculous.
Because I want to keep going, and he's just like, oh, I'm gonna stay right here, and I'm like, I gotta work around you.
I actually had to stop earlier. It was bad enough that I couldn't breathe while I was trying to do what I was doing.
And I got the look.
The
So
look.
I had to stop.
But that's the update. Like I said,
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're definitely getting there. She's waiting on that coat of filler to harden up so she can go back to blocking that out. And I've got to start doing the production welding all the way through there, which is going to take a while. That's a lot of seam length to weld up, but we'll get it there.
I need a bigger car.
No, you
I
don't.
need a, yeah.
No, you need to have less garbage on your car.
No, it's not garbage.
There's garbage on there. There's definitely garbage on there.
No, there's not.
Yeah. Look at them guns. You got that perfect yet?
It won't be perfect.
What? You're doing it. It's going to be perfect.
Yeah. Did you feel that one? No, it dips, it goes way too far in, and it's buckled right there, and I had to feel it a lot, so.
Yeah, it won't be anywhere near as noticeable.
No. But that one's, that's gone.
That one right there? Oh, it's a lot better. There's still this direction. You can feel
Well,
it.
there's a dent right here too.
Yeah.
Few.
Yeah, this door is pretty
Yeah.
whammoed. But you've smoothed it out enough that once the satin paint's over it, it won't just stand out as a whammoed door.
Yeah.
You're kicking butt. You ready for dinner?
Ready for a shower.
Showers and dinner. Fortunately, this part of what she's doing is far enough away from me that I'm not totally coated in Bondo dust today. I think last time I was actually wearing more Bondo dust than anything else after being out here because she was working over my head most of the day. As you saw in the time lapse, I went back and forth many times, and there's still many more times that I've got to go repeat that same process down the line. But we're well underway. You look at, I've got nice little caterpillar looking weld beads that are coming out very low and flat and looking really good. and the panel alignment's still really good. I did find one low spot right here where you may have noticed that I drilled a couple of holes and popped some Clecos in. I was actually using Clecos to try and pull that section out a little bit, because for whatever reason there was a weird low spot where I must have overlooked it and didn't get the panel lined up right, and it was way low. The gap was plenty good. I think the door, this is in that same region of where this side of the car has been whammoed, and I think that the original metal was low, and I checked it at the seam but didn't, you know, feel across it further to notice that that whole portion right there was being pulled in. Anyway, I got it pulled out enough that it'll be fine, and we'll be able to fix that up. And I got a long ways. The metal's actually already cool to the touch. One of the nice things about doing this long of a seam is generally if you start at one end and you work your way around, skipping every 4 to 6 inches, and let's see, yeah, I think I'm doing about every 6 inches on average. It's a little bit tighter at some of the corners, but if you skip down, you do every 4 to 6, one spot weld every 4 to 6 inches, and you get all the way to the other end. By the time you get to the other end, where you started is cooled off enough that you can go back and just repeat and keep going. You do want to check it periodically and make sure you're not building up heat. And when I finally called it quits right there at the end of the time lapse, I took my glove off and I checked it bare hand just to make sure. And there was a little bit of temperature in it. You could feel that it was ever so slightly warm, but it wasn't hot by any means at all. So doing a really good job keeping the heat out of the panel as a whole, which is going to help prevent prevent distortion that we really don't want. I mean, you're always, anytime you put heat into the metal with the welder, and like I saw in the last video, I pulled out the thermal camera and showed that one spot weld puts well over 200 degrees worth of temperature at that spot that quickly saturates out. So you could easily build up way too much heat. If I was only doing a short spot, or if I just kept going in one spot, you could build up a ton of heat, which causes all kinds of warping in the metal to happen, and you really don't want that. So 4 to 6 inches is a good spacing to try and keep from creating too much heat in one area. I don't know if there's any special rule for that. I'm not an expert at doing this. This is only the second time I've done this kind of work, and the first time was on the other side of the car. So overall, I think I'm getting it though. I've done a lot of homework, and the other part that you always want to make sure, and if you're welding in a place where you can't see the back of the weld, do some bench testing first to check your welds and make sure that your welds are good full penetration welds. And basically what that means is that on the back side of the weld, hold on, I'm getting you in here, get a little bit of light, that's not much light, but on the back side of the weld you can see the entire side, the weld bead. So that means that weld right there, all those welds are full penetration welds. Basically, my 2 pieces of sheet metal have become one at all of those welds. And the spacing is another thing. And granted, again, like I said, this is only the second time, and I'm doing a million times better as far as managing my welds and getting the spacing right. Because if you look at this side, this was the first side that I did over on the driver's side. You can see the spacing's not quite as good, not quite as tight, not as much overlap, which means there's probably microscopic holes between the welds. Small enough that we couldn't see them, and that for this car, it's not going to be an issue. If you were doing a really high dollar, if you were planning on putting a high dollar or a high quality paint job, that can be an issue, because if you have tiny holes in the weld, what happens is moisture eventually gets through that weld, and then it starts to build up rust under your paint. And that's how you end up with cars that have paint that flakes off with a bunch of rust under them. You're like, hey, how did this get all rusted when it was fully painted? Well, the moisture was getting in from behind the metal on the backside because of something that wasn't sealed up. It's another good reason to use epoxy primers and all sorts of other methods of trying to seal it up. But in this case, this is a fair weather car, and we are doing a very driver quality, take it to the racetrack and play with it restoration on this, not a primo show car or top notch, win some trophies and sell it at Barrett Jackson for $100,000 kind of car. We're doing, we cut all the Bondo crap and rust out and then needed to put a quarter panel back together.
Good enough for rattle can.
Good enough for rattle can. Yes, this car is getting a rattle can paint job. So that's what we're doing because that's what we want, and it's also what we can afford. A proper body work and paint job deal, you're going to be in at 10 grand minimum. And on a car that needs this much body work, you're probably going to be in it closer to 15, 20 grand by the time you actually get the car done. If you're a paint and body guy by trade, you know that number's not inflated, but you could probably do it cheaper because you've got all the skills and the equipment. I don't have all the equipment, nor do I have the skills to do a full-blown primo show car or a factory original level restoration that looks like it just came off the showroom floor. I don't. Not only that, I don't want a car like that because I don't want to be afraid to drive it down the road and get a rock chip. You know what I mean? Are you going to care about a rock chip?
Yeah, I'm gonna cry.
You're going to cry.
Yeah, for how much work I put into this.
And then you're going to go, no more rock chip. Then we'll move on down the road and hit the next racetrack. Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we're going to end the video here. There's a whole lot in this video. I didn't quite get that all welded up, but there's a very good chance when the next video starts, that'll be finished. We'll be moving on to the next piece of the puzzle back here, which is going to be that brace and finishing up fixing the wheel tub on the inside now that the outside's all in place. And maybe if I'm proficient and good with my time, we'll get into working the trunk drop and that same package because all of that kind of needs to get figured out, at least in the right ballpark and mostly sorted out before I start fitting the floor pan because that's going to hide all of that and I'm not going to have nearly as good of access. So thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys on the next one.